Okay, this is a GEM A5 made by GEM Products of Philadelphia, or at least imported by them. I'm not sure who made it. I think KTM made it in the 60s. Um, there's a lot of these engines around, these brass models, and they're fairly accurate. They're not too bad. The A5 had a lot of different looks to it. Some of them had a lot of accessories put on them. Everything from, can you see my cursor at all?
Yeah.
Okay, around the smokestack there was a spark screen that folded open, looked like a top hat for all practical purposes. The bell was not always in front of the on top of the bell pair boiler. These windows here, I'm going to leave alone because I don't have the skill right now to fill them in, but they don't exist on the real thing. Um, they had power reverse on them. They had a single headlight on the front, single one in the back. Um, the pilots, some of them were a sheet metal pilot, some of them were footboards on the front. Uh, just all sorts of modifications. Air tanks on the side, which took a brunt of use or of damage. You can see this one's
Mm.
got a big dent in it. And this has an extended bunker on it. And this is what I modeled. Come on. This is 94. This sits in the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, which is not the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum. It's the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, but they have the Pennsylvania Railroad collection. And this is what GEM used to do their model. Um, but they didn't put the extended tender or the extended bunker on it. Um, anyway, this is what I'm doing. This is the engine I'm doing. I'm not putting the spark arrestor on. The turbo generator is on there. I've got some. My son's going to 3D print some junction boxes that look a little bit better than the two wires crossing um, on some of them. There's 94 again as preserved with its lagging off. Some of the engines had a graphite front on them, some of them did not. Some had claw footed marker lights on them. And that's another contention that nobody seems to know what colors these are supposed to be because there's green and there's red and BLI Broadway Limited when they came out with theirs, they had clear and yellow, and everybody was kind of ticked off at them because the Pennsy Society, they gave clear instructions on what that should be, but
Mm.
somehow in translation it got missed. Here you can see something interesting. The pipe that is the exhaust pipe and the feed pipe from the boiler here has the outer lagging missing because it had rotted off. It's just sheet metal with wrapped around asbestos. So that's not a solid pipe that you see going up in there. That's just sheet metal. So you can see how small the real pipe is. Oh, come on.
It's also missing a dome.
Temporarily, yes. Yeah. It's missing the sand dome. Here's one with the spark arrestor on it, or here's the engine with the spark arrestor on it. Same one, 94, and the tender with the extended bunker on it. under steam. They used the engine to move cars or move the collection around in Northumberland one day. They had to make room and they fired it up and they ran it.
Hmm.
This is not a model, although it looks like a model. It looks like it's lit on somebody's layout. Um, this has an extended bunker, but it's permanently at an angle here. So you only got another few hundred pounds of coal in it. And it's just sheet metal with some brackets. I decided that was too hard for my fingers to work with. So I didn't do that. I think I can't read the number because you guys' faces are in the picture. What number is that on the smoke box? Can you
411.
tell? Oh, okay, okay. Inclined cylinders here on this one, piston valve, and the piston are off center a little bit. Again, you see the spark arrestor is taken off the side of it, or hanging on the side. These were little brutes. These guys could get up to about 30 mile an hour and haul about 24 cars.
Hmm.
I collected these pictures off the internet because I wasn't sure what number I wanted to do it in and what bunker I wanted to do it in because I thought the bunker was rather drab looking on the model. And they also had, this is typical Pennsylvania um, lettering on it, but they also had um, Futura lettering, which was block lettering. They were all over the system. There was a bunch of them in Chicago. There was a bunch of them around Philly and New York and Washington, D.C. They switched everywhere, switched
Hmm.
all the major areas. Here's one with Futura lettering
Hmm.
on the side and on the cab.
Oh, yeah.
And again, no round windows above the front doors. I just can't figure out where they got that from.
Hmm.
I'm putting the pop valves on the right spot instead of where they have them. This one's got a little platform for the guy to stand on instead of standing on the handrail. They didn't all have that.
Hmm.
Another one with um, a vertical boil or vertical bunker sides, but no handrail on it.
Hmm.
This gave me an idea that maybe those sides folded down somehow, but I've never seen the sheet metal ones straight up on the top of the tender. I've seen them bent down like this a lot, so I'm just curious exactly what was going on there. And here's another example where the spark arrestor is been mounted so it folds on the left side or the right side of the engine. Like I said, they just wherever the shop crew did, they did it sort of helter skelter. Now we're coming into some of the detail parts of the real engine. This one, this tender is a B tender, which or a B engine, so it's the 060, but it's the same tender. And it had a wood beam on the back right here that went across the side with lag bolts that went in. These were 18-inch lag bolts. So they were pretty long. And then there were some underneath the diamond tread that went vertically and were bolted on the bottom. They kept the timbers from splitting and kept them together. I know because I climbed under it. Well, it disappeared on me. Okay, you guys might recognize some of these pieces. Uh, the piece here, the wall, that's from Bowser. And Bowser wanted you to use wire to come up and wrap around the handrail. Well, I looked at that, the real one at Strasbourg, and it's made out of flat steel. And that looked just like a handrail off of a Athearn Jeep. So that's what I got. I got a bunch of handrails for Athearn Jeeps, cut them to length, and I adhered them. I didn't solder them, but I put them in with Loctite 272, a thread locker, which will expand and lock those things in, and they give you some time to keep them straight. The ends of them, some of them have a pipe, um, a pipe cap on them, and some of them have a nice round uh, turning. I opted to use the round turnings. Now, I could say I turned them on my micro lathe, but I did not. Okay. They are stanchions from Bowser that all I did was cut off the end.
Oh,
Cut off where it sticks into the boiler and mount them on. And they look fine. Here you can sort of see the bottom of it, the remains of it here. And a little bit of damage, which is normal. This is, nothing has to be perfect. It's all soldered together using silver bearing solder. This bar here, I couldn't figure out what the real one was on the engine for, but the real one is, so there's a rolled up piece of canvas on the engine, and it's unrolled and it's clamped onto here and here. And so when it's raining out, the fireman doesn't get wet.
hmm.
And this came from a company, this channel here, which is 32nd of an inch channel. Okay, K&S does not make that.
Huh.
This comes from a company over in England. I just said their name. I think it's Armor, but I'm not sure. Um, you can Google it if you ever need really small channel. I use this channel to replace um, door slides on nickel plate product boxcars because it's
Ah.
smaller. It's smaller and it looks a little bit more scale.
Hmm.
Now I have not yet cleaned this up. I will media blast it um, one of these days when I finish this thing up and paint it. I also did not solder this whole assembly, which is an assembly. I did not solder it to the top of the um, tender for the simple reason I couldn't get the thing hot enough. Even with my resistance soldering gun or soldering tool, um,
Hmm.
I couldn't get it hot enough. The claw-footed marker lights are from Bowser or Cowscale, which Bowser owns. And they originally were little brass turnings with some dimples in them that you put jewels in. And I thought they look horrible. I
Hmm.
mean, they look bad. And so I very gingerly heated this up without taking the platform off and pulled it straight out. These have um, um, a sprue on it that when they were lost wax cast, that screw was integral to the casting process, and I just cut it and enlarged the hole a little bit and Loctited it in.
Hmm.
This here, the right one here. Here's what the back end of one of these things look like. There's a junction box, a platform for the claw-footed marker light, fill tank. Now this has a headlight on it that has a number board in it. Some did, some didn't. Again, I don't know why. They had that change, or didn't, or didn't do it. And here's the existing one as it exists now. This has got a glass ball in it. It's like a marble. It's like a BB. And it didn't want to come out with any sort of heat or anything. And eventually I just took a engraving tool and started whacking on it. And finally it came out. Finally it dissolved. I dissolved it or ground it out. And this was all filled with plaster. So it didn't look at all real. I mean, it looked like, I don't know, some sort of hemispherical lens. And it just was crude. Oh, here's those turnings. Here's those claw-footed things that are turning. And they're just, God, they're ugly. Oh, if I wait long enough, it comes up. Huh. Anyway, here they are. And one side, or I should say two sides, should be blacked out with a piece of sheet metal. So that's what I'll do on that. And this is this is the other engine I got. I got two of them. One was one of those 4:30 in the morning jobs that the guy in his description doesn't run. And I thought, oh, what the heck? And he started it at $30 and I got it at $30. Nobody bid against me at 4:30 in the morning. Okay. So I feel lucky. But
Ken,
this
do
is
you know
what
what?
the engine actually looked like as built. That's all the tender area or all the coal area. I'm sorry, what?
I'm curious about that cylindrical piece on the far side of the coal bunker there. Yeah, what, you know what that is?
Probably a vent.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
I don't
thank you.
I don't know. I've asked in the society what it was, and the society is, they're brilliant in so many things, and then they're so stupid in others. It's like, I don't know, which is okay. It's understandable.
Yeah,
But you'd think that the fill thing here would be open enough that you didn't need a vent.
yeah.
So I'm just not sure.
Hmm.
Here's the railing that the awning would go on.
Ah.
Okay, come on, show up, show up. Yeah, so one of the wires was off on the motor, and you solder the thing back on and it runs, and I'm happy. Um, I got decoders in them, and these motors don't draw enough amperage to bother with any super duty heavy decoder at all. I got a 1 amp decoder in them, and it works fine.
Hmm. Cool.
Another view of the back end. ooh, I've got to put some lift handles on the lid. I didn't
Uh,
notice that.
mm,
I've got some flat wire from that company, and you can see these these stanchions. I mean, that's Athearn all the way.
mm.
And that's it, folks. Anybody got any questions?
And
No.
if you back up a couple of images to the,
Okay.
we were looking at the back of the prototype tender. Um,
Oh, hold on. Let me go to that one.
it
Will that one
looks
do?
like the hatch for filling the tender with water is further down on the slope um, than on the gem model, where it looks like it's on the flat on the flat part of the top of the tender. You see what
Oh,
I'm? It
yeah.
looks like it's down near the second step down, and
Oh,
on the model, it looks like the hatch is further up.
okay. Hang on. Let's see if this loads up. Whatever it is, though, I'm not fixing it.
I don't blame you, but and that might have varied from locomotive to locomotive too.
Okay, it's on the slope.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it is.
yeah,
Yeah, it's on the slope. But
yeah.
good eye, good nitpicking eye, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little higher on the slope up by the first step, but it is on the slope.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somewhere in some box, I have just it has no motor in it, but it's the old John English zinc alloy casting version of the
Oh,
A5, and
yard go
I
or the
should
yard.
the Yardbird. Yep, I should go take a look at that and see where they put that hatch. I also have the Hobby Line plastic version, which I think is the same tooling.
Yeah, it is. It was molded out of the same thing. Um, the yard bird. There is a guy who has created a cult of people who like that yard bird thing, and he was offering detail parts and repairs and
Oh,
new parts for it. So
wow.
if you Google English locomotive Yardbird, you'll find this guy's page if it's still up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm done.
I'd just like to mention that Pennsy 040 with the slope back tender is the very first engine I ever bought when I was a teenager.
Uh,
It's
hmm.
been around a long time.
Yeah, those are
Oh,
cool looking.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, nice job,
Bowser
Ken. We
introduced.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Very
Nice
Bowser,
interesting.
modeling.
Bowser introduced that 040 in HO zinc castings about 15 years ago as a kit, right at the beginning of the people not wanting to build kits anymore. Okay. And I think Lou English, who owns Bowser, I think Lou said that they only sold about 20,
Wow.
which just
Hmm.
didn't cover the
Yeah.
cost of anything. Um, then he started offering it as a ready-to-run engine that a friend of Bowser's built for them, and it was in just plain, very simple. And then the same guy did a series of articles super detailing it. And then Bowser, I guess he convinced Lou to make a detail kit for it. And that's where I got some of these parts from. I bought a detail kit on eBay that they go for stupid prices. The detail kit. I can't explain why, but they really do.
Mhm.
And I got mine again at like 4 o'clock in the morning for next to nothing. And the guy even sent me a snide answer, a snide reply. He goes, "Well, you got a deal." Wouldn't have had it
That's the
end
object.
at 4 o'clock in the morning. Should have
Yep.
had it ended. Should have had it end on Sunday afternoon. Anyway, thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Well done, Ken.
Yeah.
So next week, we've got Bob lined up. Bob, you going to be ready next week? That might be Bob's screensaver. But anyway, we're looking forward to that. As I mentioned, the 13th we'll be off, but then on the 20th, it's unconfirmed, but we may have Jason Clocky back. So that's exciting. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming. And again, Ken, thanks for the presentation. That was very interesting. And we'll see you guys again next
Sure.
week.
Yeah. Good night.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Okay.
Ken.
Thank
Good
Thank
night.
you.